Hi Internet, welcome to the Greystone YouTube channel, and welcome to Greg's 14 Adventures, a weekly vlog where I discuss my journey through Final Fantasy XIV as a first-time player. I beat A Realm Reborn back in 2022, and I'm finally finishing up the rest of the game. These vlogs are documenting my journey. If you like these videos and want to support their continued production, the best way to do that is to like the video, share it on a relevant social media site like Reddit, and leave a comment. Thanks, pal. Okay, so this was another week of light 14 playing for me. Last week, really all I had time for was doing the seasonal event and doing some Moogle quests. And this week was a holiday weekend in the United States. It was Labor Day on Monday. And usually I get my 14 playing in for the sake of these vlogs on Mondays and Tuesdays before work. But I didn't really play it on Monday because of the holiday. So really I only got to play like a little bit Tuesday and a little bit today. I've been trying to find that right balance between playing 14, working on the vlogs, and working on the video essays. And I'm getting pretty decent progress done in the next essay I'm working on. And so I think that maybe after I finish that essay, I'll take a break from the essays and play more 14 and just get more progress in. It's kind of the vibe I'm feeling. So, you know, trying to find that balance between the different projects and different hobbies and such. And this week was also the week of the free login campaign for Final Fantasy XI. So, you know, I had to like jump in there for a little bit with that at least. But unlike last week where I didn't do any MSQ, this week I did some MSQ and some big stuff got revealed, some big events happened, so there was significant shifting in the story with this week's playtime. So before I jumped back into 14 this week, I did play a little bit of Another Eden because I did get a new character upgrade in the game. They were having a special login campaign where after 10 days of logging in, you get a high-powered character. And so it's, you know, it's a random gacha pool, so you don't know which high-powered character you're going to get. But I got a new outfit for a character named Isuka. And when you get new outfits for the characters, it's called an alternate style, or another style, or extra style, AS or ES for short. And basically, they function as a different character. So you can't have two of them in your party, but they equip different types of weapons, have different move sets, have a different like level for that different style of the character. So I got another style for one of the characters named Asuka and did the quest for her alternate style, which I had seen on YouTube previously, but it was pretty good. It's basically like a Minority Report situation where they developed these AI drones that were supposed to like predict crime and stop crime before it happens, but then they went rogue and just like became like a, you know, fascist regime, and so it was like trying to stop the drones before things got worse. So, you know, trying to stop the drones from going full fascist. So it was a good little quest. I'm not going to get into all the details here because last week was pretty much just Another Eden the vlog. So I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but played a little Another Eden, got a new character. It was a fun time. Then, of course, as mentioned previously, I did log into Final Fantasy XI because they've got the free login campaign right now. And I had a bunch of login points that I just haven't used for the longest time. So I used them up. I got a whole bunch of new trusts. Got some new decor for my Mog house, and I did the Final Fantasy XIV crossover event in Final Fantasy XI, which was basically just killing some Spriggans, and after defeating them, well, they bring your level down to level 1, and you fight some Spriggans to get some items, and get some kind of currency. And then after you decide you're done, this Moogle will teleport you to a different Moogle inside the city, and you basically have a lottery system to see what kind of fun prizes you might win. So, did that for a little bit. It was alright. In general, I do think that 14 does seasonal events better than 11. Maybe like the one exception is that like maybe 11 does Halloween better than 14 does. As fun as 14's haunted houses, in 11 there's so much to do when it comes to Halloween that I think I will give 11 the edge with Halloween, but most of the holidays I do think that 14 ultimately does the seasonal events better. But anyway, after delaying 14 with Final Fantasy XI and Another Eden like I had done for so many years, I was finally back into it. And the very next part of the MSQ was Ishgard being attacked by heretics, which I had a feeling something big was going to happen. I had the feeling the other shoe was going to drop. So the city is under siege, there's, you know, fires and people attacking everywhere, and the Holy See was just willing to let the entire city burn so that when they rescued the city from the heretics, it would make the church look better. But luckily, we got back to Ishgard in time, and Ysael convinced the heretics to step down and stop their attack. And so after quelling the riots, we all meet back at Haurchefant, and Aymeric really wants to confront Thornton about the truth of the origins of Ishgard, and how it's been hidden for years. Now the church has been lying to people about the origins of their country, and Aymeric thinks that the truth needs to be revealed. Because the Highborn and Lowborn are all descendants of the initial founders of Ishgard, there's no real reason for there to be a social hierarchy. And so Aymeric thinks that revolution is going to happen either way, but they might as well try to just be open about it. And so we find out that Aymeric is actually Thoradin's bastard son, which was a reveal that I did not see coming at all. And Aymeric decides he wants to go by himself to convince Thoradin to reveal the truth to the masses, but we realize that's basically just him begging to be captured. And then we find out that he actually does get captured and imprisoned for being a heretic, essentially. And so we decide that we're going to rescue him, but we need help, so we're going to go to find some revolutionaries in the Bloom, people who are upset with the social hierarchy in Ishgard, and see if they will assist us in rescuing Aymeric. And before I get into the rest of the MSQ, this is my mid-video call to action, where I'm asking you to please like the video, comment on the video, and subscribe to the channel. If you like the video, that helps show it to more people in the algorithm, and subscribing also helps the videos get boosted up to more people. But beyond that, the entire reason I'm making these vlogs is to talk with other 14 fans. So if I'm just talking and then you're not talking back, then it gets sad and lonely. So you should talk back to me and tell me what you think about the stuff that happened in the story, because we're getting into some really juicy parts in just a moment, and I want to know what you thought when you got to that part the first time you played 14. So we decided to seek out a revolutionary named Mongrel and find out her backstory, which basically a highborn Elizin had an affair with his maid and then cast out the mother and the daughter into the streets, didn't raise the kid, so bad dad, hashtag bad dad. And so after doing some investigating in the area, we finally meet Hilda, the half-Elizin, half-human, revolutionary leader of the working class, and decide to have a talk in the Forgotten Night Tavern to see if she might be willing to assist us in rescuing Aymeric and allying with us. However, during our meeting, Charber of the Heavens Ward confronts us, and so we fight him off with some help from my boy Haurchefant. I know earlier that I said that we knew that Aymeric was captured, but we just assumed he was going to be captured. But after the battle, Lucia comes and informs us that Aymeric, yes, he's been captured, and that the Temple Knights have essentially split in two, half remaining loyal to Aymeric and half joining with the Heavens Ward. And so with all of the cards on the table, Hilda decides she does want to join us in hopes of bringing about a revolution of equality for the people of Ishgard, revealing the truth to the people, and finally ending the class hierarchy of Ishgard, which that is a very consistent theme with 14, class hierarchy. It's been a big part of the Ulda storyline. It's a big part of the Ishgard storyline. And I know that's going to be a big part of the city in, Shadowbringers. I think it's called Umor. Haven't been there yet, but I know that that one is the one where everyone talks about, like, ooh, that's the one where they're really talking about class consciousness. But, I mean, it seems like this has been a big theme of the game the entire time. So, I mean, definitely as, a left-leaning guy politically, I'm all about a work of art expressing solidarity with the working class. So, I am all for it. I am all for messages of class solidarity and breaking apart hierarchies so that we can live in a more equitable society. Heck yeah, Final Fantasy XIV, I am down with that. But anyway, so Hilda explains that the Temple Knights let the heretics into the city because that would give them a perfect excuse to purge the undesirables that they wanted to get rid of, aka the heretics within Ishgard, and also the grumpy folks in the working class who are grumpy about the wealth inequality. And so they were basically initiating a false flag so that they could get rid of the people in town that they don't like, but they weren't anticipating Ysao coming and basically putting a stop to the riot. But anyway, the plan to rescue Aymeric is to report that a bunch of heretics are outside of the city, to get the knights to dispatch there and distract them, while we split into two teams. One team of Estinian and Lucia will go to rescue Aymeric, while another team of Alphino, Haurchefant, and Leto go to confront Thoradin and get him to reveal the truth of the church's secrets to the masses. And so I did make sure to do this dungeon with a party of NPCs because I knew that Haurchefant was going to be one of the party members, so did the dungeon. And then after the dungeon, Haurchefant died sacrificing himself to protect Leto, and this is the first time that I got emotional playing 14, where I'm going to be honest, I got a little teary-eyed, got a little misty-eyed over my boy Haurchefant. I knew his death was coming because I knew I read a spoiler somewhere, so I knew that he died in Heaven's Word. I didn't know when. I had a feeling it was coming up, but man, it still sucks. He was just like, he was such a bro, such a honorable knight, always trying to do the right thing, warm, hospitable. He liked us right away. We liked him right away. He was just really chill. I got so used to him always being sitting in his chair in Fort Dragonhead and just be just like the most friendly dude, took us in when we had nobody to rely upon. Like when the chips were down, we needed a friend, he was there for us. And so it sucks. It was a Final Fantasy death that I got more emotional about than I anticipated. There have been some very memorable deaths in the series, and it's still not, even the most emotional death in the MMOs. There is a death in 11 that is one of the most emotional deaths in the series, and that death, spoilers, eventually gets undone. But I think that was like one of the most intense deaths in the series. Anyone who played, I'm not even going to say what expansion it is for the sake of not spoiling for people who haven't played 11, but this death with Haurchefant, it was intense, but the emotions were pitch perfect, and like he died with a smile and just like died a solid dude. So rest in peace, Haurchefant. One of my favorite 14 characters. Just a solid dude. And then after that, we returned to House for Tom, and there was a great use of a 1.0 Uematsu track during the morning scene. It was just, man, it hit. And so that was really all the time I had for MSQ this week, but I'm actually okay with it because it gives me time to sit with Haurchefant's death and just really let it soak in and just like feel the loss of that character. It sucks. So yeah, I definitely want to know, what your reaction was to that scene when it happened. Were you as big of an Haurchefant fan as I was? Yeah, intense stuff. But on a lighter note, I did get to play some Palace of the Dead with Summer of Jobin this week, and we actually made some progress in Palace of the Dead. We redid floors 11 through 20, and we finally got past floors 21 through 30. We heard that there was a new update for Palace of the Dead where they would make it easier to buff up your ether pool gear. And so it was one of the developers who said it on Twitter, talked about how that was going to be a new update for Palace of the Dead. And that was a few weeks ago, but that wasn't in the patch notes, so I just figured, okay, stuff gets posted on the internet and you never really know what to believe. And even though he had the blue check mark, you don't necessarily trust blue check marks on Twitter or X anymore. But someone did share with me, so I'm like, okay, well, maybe that'll just be in a future update. Well, I think we got to the point where that update kicked in because our ether pool gear went through the roof. We got much better gear, and we were finally able to get past that boss that had been giving us trouble for like a month or something like that. And so, yeah, we're feeling pretty good about Palace of the Dead. We've only got 20 more floors to go with our goal of beating floor 50, so we'll see how things go next week, but we're leaving on a pretty positive note. We felt pretty good about this run. But yeah, that's my vlog for this week. Mixed emotions going on. On the one hand, I'm really excited that we're making progress in Palace of the Dead. Excited to get back into more MSQ, playing more 14. So yeah, just like a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings. But yeah, once again, thank you so much for watching. You guys talk with me every week, puts a big old smile on my face. It's the reason that I do these videos, is to talk with everyone in the comments. And I'm looking forward to chatting with everyone. It's one of the highlights of my week. So yeah, once again, please like, subscribe, and yeah, I'll meet you guys in the comments and in the next video. Bye, everyone.